All right, I want then to turn to three elements of the curriculum. I've mentioned here teacher training and how postmoderns will recast teacher training. Well, suppose we have the appropriate kinds of teachers trained and we send them forth into the school. How will they then focus? Well, there will be lots of issues and an ongoing multidimensional curricular battle, methodological battle, and so forth that goes on. I want here just to focus on three of the contemporary battlegrounds where postmodernism has had a fairly high profile in transforming the curriculum, or at least establishing for itself a place in the curriculum. One of the areas is the area of literature and reading. The postmoderns will argue that if we look at what is called the canon, or the Western canon of literature, and we say what we should be doing as educators, and this is the modern story, is they're exposing our students to the best of the historical literature, what we should have students be aware of, and a classically and a contemporarily educated person will be familiar with Homer, with Aristotle, with Cicero, with Chaucer, Shakespeare, Herman Melville, and so forth. What the postmoderns will argue is that that canon, right, of great books, that canon of great of classic literature, is exclusively written by males. It's exclusively written by white people. It's exclusively written by people who are Eurocentric or heavily influenced by the Eurocentric. And so what we're doing here is not really privileging works that are in fact objectively and universally great, but rather we are privileging a set of literary texts that white male Europeans think are good texts. And so what we're therefore doing is explicitly excluding all other texts that are female texts, that are non-white texts, that are coming from different racial, ethnic, and religious backgrounds. And so what we should be doing is deconstructing, right, the Eurocentric texts in the canon to show that they have flaws, that are weaknesses, or that they are used to prop up a certain way of thinking, but rather what we should be also doing is, aside from setting aside those particular texts and deconstructing them, making sure that we have equal representation of books that are not written by white people, not written by males, not written by people who are Christian, and so forth. And so what we should be doing is pushing for, if not necessarily an explicit affirmative action quota system for literature, nonetheless taking a critical stance to the canon of white male Eurocentric texts and arguing for more representation of non-white, non-male, and so forth texts in the literature. So the so-called literature wars that have been fought over the course of the last century in large part have been given impetus by a postmodern text.